It's definitely a fluid situation, and our customers are very concerned about it. There is a certain level of discomfort, but customers aren't panicking. It's the customers that are being proactive, that are working closely with their 3PL, our customers working with Motivational, making sure that they're working with an agile partner who can help them work through these tariffs. They're going to come out ahead at the end of the day. It's the people that are kind of sitting back and just letting the tariffs impact their business and happen to them that are going to be kind of left behind at the end of this. A 3PL should really be a trusted advisor for a customer. I mean, they should be taking care of the back end for the customer and allowing the customer to develop and sell new products. In terms of how to deal with the tariffs, the 3PL should be helping the customer with, providing additional locations for the customer to bring product in from, alternate manufacturing locations. So if the customer wants to either, near shore or move their manufacturing to another country, the 3PL will have additional locations to accommodate. If the customer wants to bring additional inventory into the country in order to beat tariffs, the 3PL should be able to accommodate that fluctuation in volume to help the customer work through that. Again, the 3PL has to be nimble and flexible and offer different solutions and custom solutions to their customers. So it's important that the 3PL has a dynamic parcel program that allows their customer to take advantage of a variety of carriers, a variety of ship methods where the customer can kind of rate shop, not only for the best rate, but the best transit time, the best service level. Perhaps the customer wants to ship 7 days a week. Perhaps they're looking to save the most money and they're willing to sacrifice transit time. Whatever the customer's needs are, the 3PL should have a dynamic program that allows the customer to kind of custom build a program for them. In addition to that, they should be in the warehouse helping them work through their packaging issues so that they are maximizing the packaging of their product, and they're not getting hit with dimensional charges from the carrier because their packages is utilized or incurring too much waste. The 3PL should also have volume discounts with all those carriers, and they should be passing those discounts along to their customers so that, whether it's they're shipping, 5,000 packages or 50,000 packages, they're incurring deep discounts because the 3PL is passing on discounts that they're getting from their entire volume, not just from shipping that customer's volume. And so utilizing the 3PL's, discounts with their carriers is a huge advantage. And if the 3PL is not passing those discounts, then they should really be concerned. Things are getting very, very expensive for our customers, and the last thing that they can afford is to be leaking, revenue in other areas. And vendor compliance is a huge area where you can really lose a lot of money if you're not paying close attention and following the vendor compliance guides very closely. It is the job of the 3PL to guide the customer through that and to really understand vendor compliance and what each retailer's requirements are to make sure that the customer is shipping the goods to the retailer on time and in the format in which the retailer requires it, so that their customer isn't receiving those vendor compliant issues and chargebacks. We've had some that have come to us with 6 figures and even 7-figure chargeback issues where they're either with a 3PL that doesn't understand the importance or doesn't have the ability to maintain their vendor compliance, or doing it by themselves and just don't understand it. And once they've come to Motivational, we've been able to reduce their chargebacks to almost nothing. Sure, you want to work with a 3PL that has a technology and a WMS that has the ability to ship to a variety of different retailers, to meet different ship windows, to generate shipping labels with different requirements on them, to make sure that the company and the system have the ability to communicate throughout the company, what the requirements are for a particular shipment. So as those shipments are released to the warehouse knows what the requirements are and what has to be followed in order to make that shipment vendor compliant and to avoid any potential chargeback. At Motivational, we have a proprietary system which is very, very nimble and flexible. We spent a good deal of time and money, making sure that vendor compliance is a part of that, and it's really helped us reduce chargebacks for our customers. That's always a difficult question because you just don't know with the tariffs what's going to happen and what the purchaser spending habits are going to be like. Almost undoubtedly the cost of goods are going to go up, and so will consumer spending pull back? Should you cut back on your inventory? You risk then being understocked. If you bring in more inventory and consumer spending does cut back, you then risk being overstocked and paying a lot for storage to store goods in the U.S. that you don't need. So that is a difficult, decision, but you can work with your 3PL to kind of monitor not only what your inventory levels are, but what your shipment levels are. So not only what's coming in on the inbound side, but what's going on the outbound side. So you can kind of load balance and make sure that you're managing your inventory and that you're maintaining the correct levels. Again, the 3PL's job is to manage the back end for the customer. The customer should really be developing new products and selling those products. It's the 3PL's job to help them on that back end manage, getting the product where it needs to go and in the right, manner so that they don't get charged back. Part of that is helping them to forecast how much inventory they need and where that inventory needs to be placed. Whether they need a single node solution, a dual node solution. If they have a dual node solution, how to optimize the placement of that inventory so that they can get the inventory to the final destination in the most cost-effective manner, with the best time in transit that meets the customer's needs. And so really just being a trusted advisor and using your experience to help guide the customer is what you need. Motivational, we've been in business 47 years. There isn't a lot that we haven't seen or done, and we're not shy about sharing our experience with our customers, and so we really utilize that experience to help kind of recommend solutions to our customers that hopefully they could use to help save time and money. The companies that are proactive and find solutions and ways around these tariffs, whether that is moving manufacturing to countries with lower tariffs or no tariffs, finding ways to bring goods into the country at a lower tariff rate and then do value-added services to convert those goods into the final product that they need. Having the ability to rework those goods in the U.S. For example, if you've got Canadian goods that aren't selling that well and you want to sell them in the U.S., being able to convert those goods and get them, a proper UPC on it, switching out the instruction guides, making sure that the languages are appropriate so that you can sell it to a U.S. retailer. Having the ability to do that rather than importing more goods from China, let's say, can help save a company money. And so having a good 3PL that has the flexibility and the ability to do that can really assist them. And again, single node, dual node, being close to the ports, having a dynamic parcel program. There's just so many ways that the 3PL should be able to help their customer. Work with somebody that's smart, that's flexible, that's nimble, that has experience, that can really help guide you through this. Whether it's COVID, whether it's tariffs, whether it's some other issue that comes up that impacts the supply chain, there's always going to be something, and you really want to have someone in your corner that has experience in dealing with these things, that knows how to navigate around them, that has flexibility to pivot quickly, to help you make changes, to recommend changes to you so that you're not being reactive. I think that's the most critical thing that I would recommend for brands.